Hello everyone, back tuning into today's second video. We're going to have a look at the weather for the next week to 10 days, or today's second video. And this will take us to around the 5th of July, so we're extending out into the first week of July now with a week to 10 day video update. So we'll be able to extend out beyond that with the extended GFS and ECM ensembles, which run to around a couple of weeks. We'll have a look at CFSV2 as usual for the next month at the end of the video. Talking about the next month, the ECMWF 30-day look ahead was released. First video up today. So that's a month-ahead look ahead for the UK and the Europe too, taking us into the second half of July. And it looks like we're going to have a pretty warm July, actually, if the ECM is right. The trends could be looking fairly warm, not just for the UK, but for many parts of Europe during July. Right, let's get on with the video. Then I'm going to start off by saying a big thank you to our latest patrons. So we are now up to 64 patrons for Gazworthies. So big thank you to Tanya Jane Park, who has become Gazworthy's 64th patron. Tanya is off to Glasgow today, I believe, and I think Tanya has been enjoying the Glasgow updates and has become a patron for Gazworthies. So a big thank you to Tanya for doing that. Now, if you would like to become a patron for Gazworthies, as Tanya has done, and all you do is come to the Gazworthies Patreon page, you sign up for a Patreon account, and then give an ongoing monthly donation to Gazworthies, anything from $1 a month upwards. You will pull in with the rest of the patrons, and by doing that, you become a patron for Gazworthies. And we'll say a big thank you to you in videos, and we'll give you a shout out and a mention if you want one. We won't be issuing exclusive content from the Patreon page, although it is something that you can do that with. But we would rather keep all of the content completely free for everybody to be able to watch it as they want it and as they need it. So we won't be going behind paywalls or anything like that. But we just say that if you can afford to give us a donation through Patreon, then please can you consider doing that. So a big thank you to our 64 patrons, and a special thank you to Tanya Jane Park for becoming our 64th patron. Alternatively, you can give a one-off donation through PayPal. This is Gazworthy's PayPal page. This is really simple. Just come here, sign into your PayPal account, and then give a donation to Gazworthies. And again, we'll give you a mention and a shout out in the videos, and we'll say thank you so much for doing that. As long as you want one, again, some people have chosen to stay anonymous with that also. So a big thank you to all of the donors for Gazworthies, a big thank you to all of the patrons for Gazworthies, and a special thank you to Tanya Jane Park for becoming our 64th patron. And, well, we hope that you have a great time at Glasgow, Tanya. Right, so let's get on with the video. I'm going to start off by having a look at a radar picture from the weather outlook. So we've got outbreaks of rain here from northern England going down into Midlands. It's been a pretty wet morning across central parts of the country. The rain is still going on into the afternoon. It gradually is easing away to the northeast, but it's probably taking a little bit longer than anticipated. So, I mean, eventually this is going to go, but it may cling on to that sort of east coast right way through to the end of the afternoon. Very gradually, things will be drying up. We can see it's been dry across Scotland and Northern Ireland, but just southern, southeast England has been dry too. So as this rain gradually pulls away to the North Sea, things will clear up. But it is taking a little bit longer, perhaps, than we anticipated. Big contrast in temperatures today. These are the latest observations from xcweather.co.uk. And you can see down in the southeast, it really is pretty warm down there, with 25 Celsius flashing away at Hartsmanzow. Elsewhere, we've got Headcorn Aerodrome at 24. And Lyd Airport is at 22. Southend is at 23. We've got Biggin Hill, 23. To London City Airport is at 24. So we're around the mid to upper 70s Fahrenheit, that extreme southeast corner. But going a bit further north to where it's pouring with rain, it's a lot cooler. East Midlands Airport, just 14 degrees. Nottingham at just 14. Doncaster at 14. Leconfield at 15. And moving up towards the east coast, poor old Scarborough suffering there at 13 degrees. I mean, it's pretty grim on the east coast. Fylingdales at 12 degrees. Loftus is at 12 degrees too. So in the northeast, it's pretty cool through these eastern, northeast part of the country. And then we go up to southwest Scotland. Ban is at 21. Glasgow's at 20. Nice afternoon up there. Prestwick at 18, and so on. So into the middle part of the Republic of Ireland, also looking pretty warm there. Girting, for example, at 19 degrees, going to Northern Ireland, Belfast is at 18. So in the northwest, in the southeast, a lot of dry and pretty warm weather, but in between, it is rather grim out there this afternoon. Things should gradually improve as the afternoon progresses. These are the GFS upper air temperature and precipitation ensembles the next couple of weeks. The red line here is the 30-year upper air temperature average for Brighton. Looking at the south coast town of Brighton today. So we're starting off above average at the moment. We're running quite a warm, humid air mass, and the temperature is going to be lifting up over the next few days, reaching the peak Friday, Saturday, when we go up to 20 degrees at 850 HPA. That is a very hot upper air temperature, although not necessarily reflected down on the surface. But I think we will get temperatures by Saturday afternoon up to around 31, possibly 32 will be our maximum on Saturday afternoon. That's around 88 to 90 Fahrenheit, which is hot, but it's probably not quite as hot as you would expect it to be, getting temperatures up to 20 degrees at 850 HPA. Normally in the summer, that sort of level of upper air temperature, 20 degrees at 850 HPA, will be enough to get you to around the mid-30s. That would normally get you around 35 Celsius, 95 Fahrenheit. So if you don't like the heat, perhaps going to be a little bit lucky with this, actually, because it is going to get hot at the end of the week into the weekend, but probably not quite as hot as you might expect, given that sort of upper air temperature. After that, though, we're very quickly seeing a slide down in the temperature as we go through the opening days of July. This period, just here, we're going below average, actually. It's going quite cool indeed. If we go further on, though, in towards the second week of July, now there are signs that the temperature is beginning to pick up. Now, what is very evident, though, is that we are going into a much drier period of weather compared to what we've had through June so far. So we've got the last of the precipitation spikes associated with today's rainfall right now, but once that's done, basically for Brighton anyway, I think this is pretty reflective of many southern, southeastern areas. Basically, it's dry then through the rest of June and into the first week of July. It's not until the very end of the ensemble graph, which is of course in the unreliable time frame of the GFS and its ensembles. It's not until then that we begin to see some precipitation spikes coming back, but even then a very low level of precipitation spikes, not many of them. It does look as though we're heading for high and dry type conditions again as we go into early July. Temperature anomalies looking like this from the 25th of June to the 3rd of July. Overall, very close to average. And again, given how high the upper air temperature is going at the end of this week, going to or even above 20 degrees at 850 HPA, given that you would almost always expect that temperature anomaly to look substantially hotter than that. So very strange few days coming up where the upper air temperatures are not reflective of what's happening on the surface seemingly. It's the kind of thing that happens when you get an inversion in the winter when it's warm a lot, but then you get frost and fog forming down on the surface. You don't normally get that in the summer. You don't normally get inversions in the summer. So it is very, very odd what we're seeing here for the end of the week and into weekend. Nevertheless, I still think we'll get temperatures to 30, 31, maybe 32 degrees. So they won't be as hot as you might think they ought to be, with temperatures reaching 20 degrees at 850 HPA. But I think they will still be pretty hot. They're going to be into the well into the 80s Fahrenheit, I think, these temperatures on Friday and Saturday. But again, remains a bit of a mystery as to what is going to happen with the temperature at the end of the week and into the weekend. Precipitation anomalies, well, we've got this precipitation just here. That's associated with today's rain. When that's out of the way, tomorrow, this is going to go drier than average, I think, and potentially quite substantially so. Right, so that's how things are looking on Friday from the latest 6 o'clock GFS run, and high pressure is dominating, sitting over and just to the east of the country. We're pulling up winds from a southeasterly direction. There's our upper air temperatures. They look hot for most of England and Wales, very warm through the rest of the country as well, but 20 Celsius ice firm is involved heading into southern and southwestern parts of the country. That's Saturday. Peak of the temperatures will be on Saturday. I think that high pressure begins to slip towards our east, centering itself over Germany, with low pressure in the Atlantic. We're sucking up a proper southerly wind. There's the upper air temperatures again. They look really hot across many parts of the country. You would look at that and think temperatures low to mid-30s, particularly so down the south and the southeast. So again, a real mystery as to what's going on with the temperature at the end of the week. That certainly looks hot to me. By the time you go through to Sunday, though, a cold front is moving through the country, and that's turning winds into west-northwest and bringing in cooler air from off the Atlantic. Upper air temperatures are lowering quickly on Sunday, so the heat being shoved away to the east, and these yellow colours heading in from the North Atlantic. Temperatures will be taking a drop into Sunday. That's Monday. Winds just on to swing round into the north-northwest a little bit, so that could bring even cooler air and some showers to Scotland for the first day of July. But for England and Wales, actually, you'd expect quite a lot of dry and fine weather. Temperatures lower, obviously, but still pleasant in the July sunshine. And we're going to more extended range, heading up towards day 10, and the high pressure just takes over. So, as I say, we're looking high and dry as we're moving through the first week of July. High pressure is well and truly in control there. Nice ridge from the Azores high at 1,025 millibars. I mean, we're not talking about anything particularly hot there, but we're talking about pleasant conditions. You're going to get temperatures low to mid-20s Celsius. There'll be low humidity as well. So really, really pleasant sort of summer weather as we're going through the first week of July. Eventually, the GFS starts to shift that high pressure a little bit more towards our east again. It begins to pull hotter air back up from the south. By the end of the first week of July, it's starting to turn quite hot again, potentially maybe the threat of some thunderstorms down in the south and the southwest. And overall, we keep pretty high pressure going even to the very end of this GFS run. It gets us to Thursday, the 11th of July, and high pressure overall looks quite dominant. So it does appear we're going into a much more high pressure dominated spell of weather through the first half of July potentially, with a lot of dry weather, especially so the southern parts of the country, maybe showery at times in the north. And although temperatures take a tumble through the opening days of July, because of the strength of the sunshine, when the sun is out, it should feel pleasantly warm. And there is an indication there that by the end of the first week of July, things could be turning quite hot once again. Is this the start of us going into that mainly high pressure dominated summer pattern that we was expecting after June in the Galsworthy's summer forecast? Could we be starting to see the summer forecast come true? But it's very, very early days to say that. But certainly it's interesting that we're getting to the end of June and into July, and suddenly high pressure is starting to play a much more important role compared to the earlier part of the summer. That's the GEM. So on Friday, again, we're bringing up the southeasterly winds. That's Saturday, the high pressure slipping into Central Europe, winds turning southerly. Peak of the temperature on Saturday. Sunday, turning cooler as a cold front pushes across the country. Whether that will involve a thundery breakdown, it's too early to say. There's not much suggestion for the south that there's going to be thunder Saturday to Sunday. It looks like a pretty weak cold front moving across the country down in the south, but it might produce some thunder up in the north. But again, we'll know more in a day or so's time about that. Into early next week, so winds turning northerly, so a proper cool start to next week with the GEM, but it's not long until high pressure is starting to reach back in from the Atlantic, and so as we get to day 10, we're pretty anti-cyclonic. The high pressure centred just to the west of Ireland, so it brings a lot of dry weather with it. Temperatures wouldn't be particularly warm, it's not a heat wave, but it would certainly be pleasant, especially so in the south and west near the centre of that high pressure. ECM, again, we're looking at high pressure dominated conditions on Friday and bringing winds up from France, where it will be very hot. That's Saturday, high pressure slipping in towards Germany, and winds go southerly, so that's the peak of the heat. Cold front spreads across the country from Sunday into Monday, lowers the temperature by the time we get through to Monday, 1st of July, the opening day of July, looks cooler and fresher, but still pleasant in the south. That's Tuesday, winds are turning to the north, so for northern parts of the country, probably cool and showery. Down in the south, relatively dry conditions and still feeling pleasant in the sunshine. And then look at this, we go up towards day 10 and the high pressure is reasserting itself. So by the time we get through to day 10, which is Friday the 5th of July, we're under a big area of high pressure at 1,030 millibars. We're high and dry. Upper air temperatures are pleasantly warm, so again, probably not talking about a heat wave, but we're certainly talking about temperatures mid-20s Celsius. In bags of sunshine, I think that would be pretty good. And the suggestion there is that the high pressure probably goes on for a bit beyond that. There's a very quick way of getting out of that high pressure, so as we go further on into July, that high pressure could stick with us for a little while. Anyway, let's have a look at the options on the table within the ECM ensembles for day 10. So these are the options that we got from the Icelandic Met Office on the 5th of July, which of course is day 10. So, have 24 members of the ECM ensembles, including the operational run, and that is the run we were just looking at, that has above average heights, almost centred over top of the country, just a little bit to our northwest. It's basically over top of the country, and it's sending the jet stream northwards like that. So, quite well supported, that option. 24 members of the ECM ensembles are doing that. There's 15 that have the high pressure just a bit more to our west, kind of like more of a mid-Atlantic ridge. That is a cooler option because it's bringing in the wind from a northwesterly direction. Not necessarily a great deal more unsettled. I think there would still be a lot of dry weather on offer with that option, but temperatures would certainly be quite a bit lower. But then there's another 12 that again have the high pressure almost centred over top of the country, and those ones would be sending the jet stream northwards like that too. So if we put together the 24 that we have here with the 12 there, then we have got pretty good agreement within the ECM ensembles for high pressure to be really quite dominant by the time we get through to day 10, and potentially producing quite a lot of dry and warm weather. In 2 weeks' time, these are the options that we've got. So this is for the 10th of July. 19 members of the ECM ensembles with above average heights just to our northwest. So again, quite a lot of dry weather on offer with those, probably in some slightly cooler winds from the northwest. There's 17 that have the high pressure sort of as a mid-Atlantic ridge again, below average heights over Scandinavia, so they could be cooler and more unsettled. And then 15, the minority option, has a high pressure centred over top of the country and will be bringing in very warm, maybe hot east or southeasterly winds. So high pressure in control for a while, and then possibly beginning to pull away into the middle of the North Atlantic. But we should wait and see about that. Certainly the trends for the first week to 10 days of July are at the moment looking pretty dry, and after a cool start to July, becoming warmer too. CFSV2 is looking like this for the next month. So these are 500 mm heights broken down to week periods. The first week period will take us from the 25th of June to the 1st of July. The coming week has the above average heights over to the east and to the north of us, below average heights down to southwest. Obviously very warm, bringing up those southerly winds until Sunday anyway. Then we go through to week 2, which is the 2nd to the 8th of July, the above average height centred just to our west. Again, a lot of dry and warm weather on offer with that situation. Just that the wind's coming in kind of like from a northwesterly direction, so it's not as warm as it is in week 1. Temperatures do lower, but because we're close to high pressure, there would be a lot of dry weather to enjoy. Bit of a change for week 3. This is the 9th to the 15th, with northern blocking coming back, taking the above average heights up towards Greenland, Iceland and Svalbard. There's no particular area of low pressure underneath it, but you would expect some sort of low to be around there. Winds would be in from the east or northeast, so that could be turning more unsettled and potentially cooler as well. And then real changes for week 4. This is the 16th to 22nd of July, with above average heights around Greenland and Iceland and a trough of below average heights over top of the UK and Ireland. That's what happens, or that's what often happens in the summer when you have northern blocking. So we've got northern blocking up here, the jet streams push southwards, there's more energy available in the atmosphere because it's summer, and that generates a trough of low pressure, which decides to park itself right over top of the UK and Ireland. And obviously, if that came off, that would be very, very grim for the second half of July. But it is week 4, it's a month away, so I think that's pretty unlikely to come off, although nothing can ever be discounted with the weather. So it looks like we've got high pressure in control as we're going through the first week to 10 days of July. Initially a lot cooler, bringing the wind in from the northwest, so temperatures will be cooler through the opening days of July. But as that high ridges in and centres itself almost over the top of the country through the second half of next week, it looks as though temperatures should start to recover, becomes warmer, and then potentially we're going to quite a nice spell of weather that may last for a few days as we go towards the second week of July. Where we go beyond that is much more speculative, of course. Right, so that's it for your 2 videos today. We'll have another week to 10 day video update tomorrow. Also tomorrow, what we have coming up, we have a 5-day forecast. It's Wednesday. So tomorrow we'll start off 5-day forecast and then we'll have a week to 10 day video update as well. That's all for now though, and thanks for watching.